Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into November 22nd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also, if you trade Bitcoin, I will do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. What that means is each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol MSTZ. Big mover today, and really moving forward, it's just a question of, because nobody would disagree with the fact that where the price was here to where it went all the way up there, that was a very, very big, very, very impressive move. But is there any sort of genuine power? Is there any sort of true strength behind this price movement? I have no idea. But by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And in my mind, it all revolves around this area down here at the 85-cent mark. Why is 85 cents so important? Well, I'm not saying this will occur, but for example's sake, let's say the price came down here and then broke down below it. What would you have at that moment in time? You would quite literally have the price having gone right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves and then go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine strength or true power. But to be fair, nothing can go straight up. So maybe the price comes down here, behaves like this, and then curls back upwards. Now, all of a sudden, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows here. You'd have that low down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair-steps, you now have stair-steps making progress in the upwards direction. And that's the name of the game. Like I said, nothing can go straight up, but you do want to see quote-unquote progress. And in this situation, the progress is being defined as right there at 85 cents. So that's going to be the main, at least in my opinion, the most important thing moving forward. Can this price show progress by staying above 85 cents? Let's see what happens. Next one, WORX, and very nice little consolidation here within the context of the gap up and then the context of the opening 30 minutes being a very strong candle. Sure, it pulled back, but again, that's the whole point, is it pulled back, but it did not crash or anything like that. It at least started to go sideways. Now, just because it went sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to return back upwards, but it makes it a whole lot more plausible as opposed to the situation where if the price was still doing this, and if I was sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like this could be a consolidation, you'd be totally justified to say, wait, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price is literally dropping straight down. But that's not the case here. So just because it's gone sideways doesn't guarantee anything, but it does make it at least way more reasonable to think that the selling pressure is over. So in terms of levels of resistance headed into tomorrow, first key level right there at $2.25. And then in terms of areas of support, bottom part of this consolidation area right there at the $1.85 mark. So keep your eye on these couple levels here as it kind of chops back and forth, and the question just becomes, is this consolidation the leading indicator to another move to come? We'll see what happens. Next one, QUBT. Talked about this one in yesterday's video, drew in the pattern down here, but once again, another very, very impressive move. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of those lines down there as the newest pattern now needs to be mapped out up here. And this is great when there's just one bullish pattern after another. And then today, yes, we have another one, and it's essentially the same one. And again, that's not a bad thing. That just shows how the thing keeps on putting in higher highs. So we have the top part of the pattern right there, resistance. We have the bottom part of the pattern right there as support. And then just so I can keep this hopefully easiest to see, let's make it one color now. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big upwards move right there, and this would be a bull flag pattern. Now, just because something's in a bullish pattern does not mean guaranteed it's going to keep going up, but it just goes back to the whole talking point of plausibility. Is it plausible to think that the price could keep going up when it's in a bullish pattern? Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we have here. So if you like bull flags, you like this price range down around the $5 mark, keep an eye on it. Next one, ticker symbol MARA, and overall a good solid day here. Granted, it pulled back a little bit from those highs, but we have ourselves, again, another pattern that we just talked about. Well, at least I should say a very similar pattern. So we have the resistance portion of it right there. We have the support part of the pattern right there. And this is actually more so a multi-day pattern, but in order to keep it easier to see, resistance, support, big move up right there. This would be, and for you golf, oh, I can't even see. No, can't do that. But anyways, that doesn't matter. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Usually I put a golf hole down here to make it a little bit more visual to see, but you can't. Yeah, there we go. There's the partially part of the golf hole. So for you golfers out there, there you go. Hopefully I made it a little bit more visual for you. But this is not necessarily a bull flag pattern, which we just talked about. This would be a bull pennant pattern. But don't get all hung up on the names of the patterns because they're all illustrating the same idea. Big move up, and now a bit of consolidation. And will this consolidation lead to another move back in the upwards direction? That remains to be seen. But MARA has definitely been doing very well. And yes, this is a little bit more quote-unquote expensive compared to some of these other ones. But if you do options or what have you, or maybe you don't care about the price range and this is fine, but you like bull pennants, then here you go. Next one, NVDA, and overall, the chart is doing just fine. I say overall, though, because I am well aware that after earnings, there was a group of people that were buying up here as day traders or scalpers, whatever they want to call you, and their goal was to buy and sell within a few minutes. And then from that person's angle, yeah, today was not very good at all. But assuming you care about just the broad scope of things, sure, not the most exciting thing to see it pull back from those highs. But overall, things are fine. And when I say overall, what do I mean by that? Well, this would mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the previous video. But if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that area of support down there, which you saw that's the closest it got to even testing that, again, quote unquote, overall level of support. So on that note, like I said, everything's perfectly fine. In fact, even in the nearer term, the price is still nicely above both those moving averages. Purple line being the 50-period moving average, pink line being the 200-period moving average. So nothing to complain about at all in that regard. And while this level was temporarily broken, the overarching resistance trend line, in fact, late day, you can see it tried for a breakout. Actually did get a bit of a breakout, but then you can see last 30 minutes here, pretty nasty as it's fallen back inside of that area. So that's just my long way of saying that that level is still considered and needs to be considered an area of resistance. So keep an eye on that in the near term. And if the price can curl back above there, then you start to get back into this bigger, area of the chart that suggests it could find some more momentum to keep moving. And then on any sort of pullback, preferably speaking, you want to see the price stay above those moving averages. But definitely a way more important level would be down there at the 138 mark, that overarching level right there. So again, depending on your perspective, if you're a day trader scalper and where you bought, today might have been an absolute train wreck. But from the grand scheme of it all, the chart's doing just fine. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to control risk and manage and build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage there you can use to sign up. Now, one special note, it is a genuine live event. So a couple things, maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening. That's okay. Or maybe you watch this Friday morning, or you're watching this video Friday morning and you totally missed it. Go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one, SMCI, and overall, very nice move today. Not necessarily because it was green, but because, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the previous video, have drawn in this multi-day pattern. You can see right there, got the break of the pattern. Very nice move in the upwards direction. So that's always good to see. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. And then extend this level out right here, because this would now be considered what I'd call the ideal level of support. When you say, hey, Clay, because when levels of resistance are broken, you want to see them act as support. So if you say, hey, Clay, what makes this chart look the absolute best moving forward? Certainly if the price can stay above there on Friday. But if it doesn't hold above there, not the end of the world, because from a bigger picture point of view, you have that purple line there, 50-period simple moving average. And as the name implies, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So from an overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, the bulls are still very much so putting in those higher highs and higher lows. In terms of areas of resistance, no need to overcomplicate this. Just a question of where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up here at the $30.50 mark. You can see a couple occasions, both there and there. Price got rejected from it. So 30.50 will be public enemy number one headed into Friday. But all in all, very nice breakout of the pattern. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and today was a bigger day because this pattern, which I talked about in past videos, was running out of room. And in all actuality, it was kind of anticlimactic. In fact, it was actually pretty tricky. Right here, acted like it wanted to break to the upside of the pattern. Then it was like, no, just joking. Came all the way down here, broke, acted like it wanted to fall through the downside of the pattern. No, just kidding. Back up it went, and then you can see right there, it went right back to acting as resistance before getting rejected back down, and it's now slightly below that area. So very wild day, and from a pattern standpoint, a very tricky day. So if this one fooled you today, you're definitely not alone. I'm sure there's other traders out there that got fooled in both those directions also. But now that the dust has settled, we do have a couple more lines that we can keep an eye on moving forward in terms of resistances and support. So like I said, with the data here, we have a pretty well-established now overarching level up there. And then from the downside of things, in terms of supports. We have that level right there. But in all actuality, it's really just been basically a choppy mess the past few days. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a tricky thing from a trading standpoint, because just when you think it's getting ready to do one thing, and no, back down, up, back up. Now, if you do like to trade ranges and stuff like this, then yeah, this has been your little personal ATM machine. So it just goes back to whatever your style of trading was. So range traders, those that like to trade the choppy action, have been loving it. Other traders that like to play breakouts and momentum and continuation, not so much. But we'll see if the price can start to get a little bit more decisive on Friday. But I wouldn't be shocked at all to see it just stay between those two prices either. Next one, CRNC, absolute beast mode today, and has finally pulled back a little bit, which is a nice thing to get this pullback right here, because at least it alleviates the concern of, oh great, am I going to be the sucker that buys the top? Well, no, that's already happened. The suckers that bought the top already happened. Now, that doesn't mean that it's still going to be a winning trade. I'm just pointing out that at least that concern no longer exists. When something's going straight up, yeah, it's a very real concern. Am I about to buy the top here? But that situation, like I said, does not exist. You do have the pullback, and not just a question of if you still do believe in the pullback, or excuse me, the overall move. Well, here's your pullback for an entry, and then just from a pattern standpoint, yes, it's pulled back, but what was going on before the pullback? The price was there before shooting all the way up there, which has given us a little miniature bull flag within the overall day. So all in all, though, at the end of the day, this one's got the key ingredients that we as traders like. It's got good volatility, and it's got a whole lot of volume. And for some of you, it's right down in that bread and butter price range. So keep an eye on it if it meets your criteria. Next one, SOUN, and I'm going to go through this one very, very quickly because literally just talked about it, so I want to respect your time. But yes, overall day, nice solid movement, but to give a little acknowledgement that there has been a pullback here, that is totally fair. That's very accurate. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, that is saying, well, yeah, Clay, fair enough. It has pulled back here, but what was happening before this pullback? And you say, well, the price was down there, and then it went all the way up there. So we have ourselves yet another bull flag pattern. Now, this is not necessarily a little miniature one within the day. This, is more so the overall day. But regardless, the same thing is true. As far as, am I going to be the sucker that buys the top? Nope, that's already occurred. You've got the pullback, so if you still believe in the overall move, here you go. Next one, TQQQ. Absolute wild day to start off this one. I mean, first 30 minutes down. Next 30 minutes down, and then check out that 30-minute candle. Straight back up, and then ultimately almost got back to the high. So wild day, and I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now, because moving forward, not necessarily into Friday, but into early next week, the main levels that you're going to, ideal level, best case scenario would be if the price can stay above that pink line there. If the price does not hold above it, not the end of the world, because you do still have that purple line right there as a secondary area of support. And if the price breaks down through both those, I mean, I'm sure I'll be back to update the chart at that point on where next potential areas of support are. But as of right now, with the strength of that bounce, it's gotten back above both those moving averages and, position them as supports for the time being. In terms of areas of resistance, yeah, you still have that overarching level up there at 79.60, which I talked about in previous charts. But in the near term, I think a lot of people have done that right there. And I make that comment because when a lot of people have done the same thing and are watching the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that if the price comes up here and breaks up through there, that break in of itself could just create more buying pressure and more momentum? That is certainly a reasonable conclusion. So overall, crazy day today, and we'll see how it ends the week on Friday. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a moment, but again, for you stock traders out there, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Like I said, it'll be this evening, Thursday, November 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. And then also, as I mentioned, if you can't make it live for whatever reason, go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd gladly send you a link to that replay. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. If you just want a totally easy way to support the channel, just hit that subscribe button. Hitting the subscribe button goes a long way, and if you could do that, I really do appreciate it. All right, now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification here, I am on the 4-hour time frame, so instead of each of these representing 30 minutes, which it was, each one now represents 4 hours, and that is because Bitcoin is open 24/7, and I want this analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible. So by using longer time frames and then walking you through some questions, we can make this last for as long as possible. So question number one, you're gonna need to ask yourself, and let's just say you're watching this video 20 hours from now. Question number one is, where's the price at relative to that trend line right there? Now, if you've been watching past videos, you know that's been the key question. But sometimes it's just the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And it really is as straightforward as that. And as long as you're answering the question that the price is above that line, then as far as I'm concerned, everything is still perfectly fine. The price is still in a very strong uptrend, and it's just kind of one of those things where it is what it is. Nothing can go straight up. Pullbacks happen, but as long as, like I said, any sort of pullback stays above that line, then in my opinion, nothing to worry about at all. The only time where I would say, okay, maybe it's now time to start to worry a little bit is if somehow you're answering the question that, well, first off, the price is down below there, but then you're also saying, well, yeah, and the price is down below 84,500. Now, I highly doubt you're going to be answering it in that way, but in the event you are, then yes, at that point, something has changed, and I would get a little bit more worried. And then on the flip side, it's all common sense. You're saying, well, yeah, Clay, the price is above here. Well, how far above it? If it's right here, again, totally fine. But if the price is, way up there, even higher, well, that's just telling you that not only is this trend still powerful, it's gotten that much more healthy, that much more powerful. So common sense will take you far in that regard. But overall, Bitcoin, it's approaching 100,000. You got to think that it'll at least go up and hit 100,000 now just because, but we'll see what happens. And as I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a crypto and Bitcoin trader to definitely get signed up for the free class, because what you'll learn about can and certainly should be used within the world of Bitcoin and crypto. So as mentioned earlier, it'll be this evening, Thursday, November 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Or if you can't make it live, then as mentioned, go ahead, send me an email to clay@claytrader.com. And also, if you enjoy these top 10 videos and you'd like a totally free, totally easy way to help out and support the channel, please hit that subscribe button. So thanks for watching. Go get signed up for that free training, and hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours.